We go to Ukraine to check in with Joseph Lindsley.
He's the world's most interesting man. Let's go to Ukraine.
800 days. Must feel like it to you.
Thank you, Joseph, for making us cry this morning.
Hello from Odessa.
Hey, Bob, good morning to you. Hello from Kyiv. 3 missiles hitting in quick succession in a way that I've never heard before. Joe Lindsley with our...
Well, corruption is a very big word.
It was not like a freak out for me.
Just imagine winter.
Freedom is our religion.
Like, I have shivers right now because
you defeated Roger Federer when he was #1.
Other Ukrainian and American reports are fair to good, but Joe Lindsley always reaches an excellent standard.
I appreciate Joseph's passion for truth, justice, and the goodness of it.
Joe covers so many fascinating and crucial Ukrainian cultural topics missed by others.
One of the best journalists who provides insight into how war is actually experienced by Ukrainians.
Every weekday, 1,000 days and counting, join the journey from Ukraine with Chicago's WGN Radio.
Since we posted a couple of videos about the Vindman twins who used the 2019 Trump-Zelensky call to impeach Trump the first time, we've had a lot of people asking us to stop. Be nice and quiet, they say. Well, those events in 2019 are crucial to today's events. During that Trump-Zelensky call, one of the main topics on which Trump and Zelensky agreed was that German Chancellor Merkel, like Scholz today, has been terrible for freedom and security in Europe. Trump and Zelensky mutually agreed on this point. There was nothing bad in that call, unless you desperately did not want anyone to dig into the Biden family dealings with anti-Ukraine people in Russia. Now, one of the Vindman twins who tried to bring down Trump is a newly elected Democrat in Congress. So, scrutiny is needed. They are precisely the part of Washington that Trump's voters dislike. A permanent, unelected class of bureaucrats who think they get to make the big decisions. By restricting Ukraine from fighting back,
he doesn't need F-16s now.
Biden's team has showed they don't give a damn about Ukraine.
As long as it takes.
Ukrainians are resisting the ultimate deep state. Maybe this is why Joe Biden won't really help Ukraine. Maybe this is why some people did not want Trump and Zelensky to work together. We have many questions these next weeks, and we're going to keep asking them.
Now I understand what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Oh, now I understand what you tried to say to me, how you suffered for your sanity, how you tried to set them free.
Oh, which side are you on? Democrat Tulsi Gabbard.
Now fight me, cowards.
Her critique of the military-industrial complex and America's forever wars is spot on.
Let's start with the military-industrial complex.
Okay. Except, when it comes to Ukraine, she strangely sounds like a CIA operative. She dismisses the wild freedom of the Ukrainians by saying it's a CIA experiment.
The U.S. is engaging in a proxy war with Russia, using Ukraine.
This is like saying that the Kremlin created MAGA. It's absurd. Look closer and you'll see that the U.S., especially under Biden,
as long as it takes,
has done the bare minimum to help Ukraine. It's as if they hoped Ukrainians and their wild freedom would simply fold. Ukrainians took on the deep state in their revolution of dignity, kicking out corrupt, oligarchic forces controlling their country. In fact, the Ukrainians carved out such a space of freedom that, during the pandemic, it became one of the freest countries in the world. The military-industrial complex?
By the military-industrial complex.
Tulsi's right. They don't care about freedom, and yes, they love long wars. But here's where she's wrong. The deep state complex doesn't want Ukraine to win. They profit from a long, slow death for Ukraine. So, whose side is Tulsi on?
Which side are you on? It's a black dog following hard on my train.
Once again, headlines are filled with nuclear fear to make old fears felt today, even though they don't apply. The Kremlin must be smiling as they get the West to amplify their threats for them. Back in 2022, British and American officials thought there was a 50-50 chance Putin might go nuclear. Liz Truss, remember her? Well, she was terrified. She even sent her defense minister to Washington. Everyone was really scared. And then what? The stories never mention what happened to all that fear of imminent nuclear catastrophe. No bomb dropped, and Ukraine kept fighting. In fact, Ukraine pushed forward, crossing more and more of Putin's so-called red lines. There's never been a swift or decisive Russian response to Ukraine's boldest actions. Instead, each time Ukraine succeeds, Russia scrambles, taking weeks or months to recover.
So I run, 'cause I must leave that dog in the dark.
Russia makes threats, and Ukrainians see through them. Will the new government in Washington?
To the sea, gonna run.
The brave men of the Green Beret.
Who is Mike Waltz, the person Trump is picking for his national security advisor? First, we are talking about Mike Waltz, a Florida congressman and former Green Beret, not Tim Walz. And it seems he's no Jake Sullivan. Here's a look. In 2022, Congressman Waltz was a strong voice for Ukraine, saying,
Vladimir Putin is going to continue to push until he meets steel, cold, hard steel.
But in 2024, he voted against Ukraine funding.
This is a $90,000 bag of bushings.
This is not necessarily a bad sign. It seems Waltz is concerned with Washington throwing money at a problem while refusing to let Ukraine win. He told America's National Public Radio November 4th that the U.S. has leverage over Russia.
We have leverage like taking the handcuffs off of the long-range weapons we provided Ukraine.
He also said,
we're providing weapons, yes, but we need to provide more sophisticated weapons.
He has called Russia a gas station with nukes, but it doesn't seem he's afraid. He's been urging Washington to get serious about sanctions. Did you know that the Biden administration gives sanctions waivers to 17 Russian banks precisely because they facilitate oil transactions? Do you think Mike Waltz might be a stronger force for good than Jake Sullivan?
The brave men of the Green Beret.
I know we've come a long way.
These are the boys of Puente Hope.
Elon Musk and David Sachs claim that only warmongers support Ukraine. Truth is, the warmongers are stopping Ukraine from winning. The warmongers include Joe Biden, who prolongs the war by handcuffing Ukraine every chance he gets.
Oh, he doesn't need F-16s now.
Biden has frightened Europe into buying more weapons. He has emboldened China, Russia, and Hamas. The warmongers are Iran, which supplies Russia with drones to destroy Ukrainian cities, and North Korea, which now has its dog-eating soldiers on European soil. The warmongers are India and European governments, who continue to fuel the Moscow war machine by buying Russian oil. The warmongers include Putin, who, unable to control the Ukrainians, bombs them daily. The warmongers are those Americans who prevent Ukrainians from winning.
As long as it takes.
Against the warmongers stand those who support Ukraine, the heroes who have died in battle to keep their families and land free. Americans like Timothy Snyder, who stands for Ukraine because he understands history. Warriors like Gandalf, who lost his hand in battle. Volunteers like Rima, an American medic.
These are the boys of Puente Hope.
These are the people who won't surrender to tyrants. They hate war, but they hate tyranny more. Ukrainians are not the warmongers. 3 days before Trump and Zelensky spoke in 2019, the Washington Post ran a story about Joe Biden's son's work with an allegedly Ukrainian gas company. So was it not natural just days later for Trump to ask Zelensky about what he saw in the Washington Post? Yet two twin brothers born in KYIV, working via the military at the White House, stopped Trump from asking the same questions, and it wasn't only the Post raising questions. Zelensky's new press secretary, Julia Mendel, had recently reported in the New York Times on Hunter Biden's profits from a Moscow-linked firm called Burisma. Trump had the right to threaten to withhold foreign aid, as Joe Biden himself had done 5 years earlier.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money.
And Trump actually gave Ukraine better support than Obama-Biden. In the call, Trump and Zelensky sounded ready to work together. The only interference came from Alex and Eugene Vindman. Eugene, now newly elected to Congress, and at least one unnamed colleague who used the call to impeach Trump, making it toxic for him to work with Zelensky. Why didn't the Vindmans want Trump and Zelensky working together? Why block an investigation into Biden family dealings with Russians in Ukraine? Why did these unelected officials think they had the right to determine U.S. policy?
I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
Pussyfooting about the goddamn Russians. We're gonna have to fight them sooner or later anyway. Why not do it now when we got the army here to do it with?
I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair.
As long as it takes.
Even as Ukraine defiantly advances into Russia's Kursk region, President Biden refuses to let Ukraine hit Russian missile launch points. As a result, Moscow, though weak on the ground, can send missiles into any Ukrainian city anytime. A bipartisan group of retired American generals and ambassadors have accused Biden of creating a sanctuary where Moscow can operate its war machine with impunity. A well-armed freedom can stop tyranny. This is a deep value of the United States. Have we lost it? Maybe Ukraine can remind us again what it means to be free. President Biden, what will your legacy be?
I will let you down.
Eugene and Alex Vindman. Their actions in 2019 may have hurt Ukraine. In 2019, the Vindman twins, born in Soviet-era Kyiv, were both national security employees at the White House. Alex listened to the Zelensky-Trump call and with his brother used the secret contents of that call to create the first impeachment of Trump. Trump and Zelensky had seemed poised to work together, agreeing that Angela Merkel had been helping Russia more than Ukraine. Two heads of state engaged in a private call, discussing and negotiating as national leaders do. Arguably, the actions of the unelected Vindman brothers harmed Ukraine. By creating a scandal, they made the Trump White House wary of deeper engagement with Zelensky. And they blocked Trump from uncovering what Zelensky likely already knew. His press secretary, as a New York Times reporter, had uncovered Joe Biden's son's financial ties to Burisma, a company whose Moscow-based CEO had tried to kill Ukraine's Maidan Revolution. Notably, Biden as vice president had threatened to withhold support for Ukraine.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money.
Now, one of those Vindman brothers is in the U.S. Congress. Is he a hero or a wolf in sheep's clothing?
That always does the trick. In Ukraine, they're saving the cats and dogs. The dogs!
While Biden protects Russian skies and Russian oil, regular heroes are standing up to evil every day. Take a look at this from Ukraine's Kharkiv region, just a few miles from Russia. A Russian suicide drone hit the van of volunteers who were rescuing animals. Even knowing that the Russians often strike the same spot twice, the Ukrainians continued to get the animals to safety. These are free people who care about cats and dogs, even amid the hell of war. Wouldn't you like to have them on your side?
Star is born, Elon.
Donald Trump and friends want rockets for excellent space exploration. Russia and friends want rockets for horrible earthly destruction.
And I'm saying only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and I put it straight, and it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it, and just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I called Elon. Who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No.
Ukraine is battling against the world's nastiest regimes every day. Freedom-loving Ukrainians face missiles from Russia, drones from Iran, and dog-eating soldiers from North Korea. And guess what? Ukraine still stands and holds the line. They are a beautiful wall against the shithole regimes, so that in the USA and Europe, people can dream, innovate, and find life on Mars. Imagine what can be achieved working together. The two most pro-American, pro-freedom countries in the world.
Slava Ukraini! God bless America. We want to thank the people who listen to Joe Linsley's Ukraine broadcast on Chicago WGN Radio. You can listen to these reports every day at ukrainianfreedomnews.com. And special thanks to Mr. Peter Jurgensen.
We invite you to follow our channel, the only American show reporting live from Ukraine every day.